They still got
Hello,
moved
hello,
up.
hello,
So their
everyone.
soldiers
So
did
I
not want to move
am
to
sitting
Gaza.
on a
We're seeing
live on
where
TikTok
tons of
with several
barbecues being
Palestinian
shown for service.
Americans, as
First
well
thing, the
as a
government
civil
talked about
rights attorney
110,000
out of
people for
Chicago,
service to show
who is
up.
also
They
Palestinian,
did
as
not
well
put
as
the
some
calls back. They
Palestinians that
did
are
not
in
answer the calls. They
Gaza.
dropped it down to
And I
60,000.
am
And I have yet to
live
see them
only
actually
so
get
that
their
you can
soldiers,
hear
really go back in.
Hind
So we're
Rajab's
going to see how that
mother,
plays out. But I do believe it will
Wasam,
continue to be airstrikes,
as
robots
she talks
will
about
continue
losing
airstrike
her
after
daughter
airstrike, unfortunately.
to Israel. So
They are definitely
um,
afraid of coming into Gaza
please
City
join,
because they
please
know that the
share, please
resistance have
comment.
been
If you can
trying
join
to
on TikTok
rebuild their
to help
capabilities
boost
and
that live,
preparing
please do
themselves for
so.
such a
Um,
scenario. And as
yeah,
a
if you have
Gazan
questions,
living in
please
the
ask
Gaza
them.
Strip, I heard this from many people living in Gaza City that the resistance is getting ready for a great
Give me
battle
one moment,
that is
please.
going to take place in Gaza City. So the situation is going to be difficult for the IDF soldiers. It's not going to be a pleasant.
So
It's not going to be easy for them to capture the area and
if you
stay
are in
there.
here, please say
Yes, they
hello when
can
you
go
join,
there, but the
so that
question
I
is
can
how
see
long
you, speak
can
to
they
you,
last
know that you
in
are in
power
here.
because they have
That
been
way I
ambushed
can share
so
with you
many
and explain
times.
exactly
Listen
what
to
is
me, guys.
happening
The people of
right
Gaza
now,
are including
and
many
why
people.
I've
I am a
decided to
Gazan,
go live.
and we are not leaving.
And
We're
listen
not
to
going
someone
anywhere.
else's live this morning.
Whatever
I am
is
on this panel.
essential
However, it is
is
not my
our
live.
homeland and
I have been invited to participate to try to help
the
viewership
resistance and the
and
show up, the
to help
resilience of my people and to
share
help prove that
the
it's
experience
we will get
of
to this
Hind
point
Rajab
eventually.
and her mother
That's why
Wasam.
we depend on your
As you
voices,
may know,
especially
there is a
nowadays,
movie that is getting a lot
because
of
what's
attention that
going to
has been
happen in the
written
coming days is
and
truly
filmed
dangerous and mysterious, and
about
we
her
have to be
existence
there to
and
stop
her
this
death at the
madness.
hands of IDF
So we
forces.
hope, guys. I'm a
And so
Gazan.
I am sharing this because I don't know. Good morning, Mary. I don't know if I'm going to get her mother to be able to interview with me
We
directly.
are
She is
patient.
still in
We
Gaza. And so I did not want to miss this opportunity
have
for
faith
you
in
all to
I have
hear her. So she will be
that one
speaking,
day
as
we will
well
see
as we have
the
Abu Saraj, who is
process
also in
and
Gaza, who will
show
be
up.
translating for her. So I'm going to ask you to, good morning. Good morning, Pamela. So give me one moment. So we sent her the link. So I think she's about to click on it now, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Jay? Okay.
Yeah, my messages are going through to her. So I'll give her a minute to click on it.
So, A Money, I just wanted to let you know that I've gone live on YouTube and Substack as well as my Facebook, so that people can hear this conversation when she joins. Um, but that way we can get it out to as many other places as we can.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. So for those of you all who aren't familiar with this story and what has transpired, but in January of 2024, this little girl right here, Hind Rajab, was in Gaza. She had been, her family had received the direction from Israeli forces to evacuate their home. And so they began to do that. And they stopped, not that far after they had left their home. When they stopped and left their home, they then called her uncle, Hey Deborah, to share with her uncle that they were surrounded by Israeli military forces, and that they were being attacked. And what transpired is that the Israeli forces were beside them, even in a tank. Hey, Carla, good to see you. Please, you guys, share this out, not for me, but because there are so many people who aren't aware of this. And it's really important for people to know what transpired. And so what happened is that Hind and her cousin, who I believe was 8 years old, maybe a little older, They were able to get in touch with the Red Crescent organization, who was on the phone with them. The Red Crescent organization stayed on the phone with them. Lahan is her name. Layan is her name, and Red Crescent got permission from Israel to send an ambulance in to get them. Okay, so I want you to understand that these are two little girls that are in this vehicle with their family that has already been unalived by Israeli Defense Forces. Hey, Doug. So I'm going to walk you all through this just so that you follow the steps. So, number one, they receive a message from Israel's military to evacuate their building. So they do that. When they evacuate their building, they are immediately surrounded by Israeli forces, including a tank. They are fired upon by those Israeli forces, killing everybody in the vehicle except for Hind, who is 5 years old, and her cousin, Leon. Leon calls her uncle and lets him know what is transpiring. They end up being in touch with the Red Crescent organization. Red Crescent organization gets permission. You're welcome, cats. Red Crescent gets permission from Israeli military forces to send an ambulance to go get these two little girls that are sitting in a car with their dead loved ones around them. When that ambulance, and Red Crescent stays on the phone with them while this is happening. So Red Crescent can hear the ambulance coming. When the ambulance turns down their street, you hear gunfire and bombings. The Israeli Defense Forces actually blew up that ambulance and the paramedics that were in that ambulance. They killed them when they got on that street to get to them. Leon, who is the little girl that was on the phone, she's on the phone, and you hear 62 rounds in, I believe, 6 minutes. I just want you to imagine 62 rounds. And you hear her screaming for her life until the phone goes dead. The Red Crescent organization immediately calls back. Hind, who is 5 years old, answers the phone. She can be heard telling them that everyone is dead. She asks the Red Crescent to not leave her. She asks them to please stay with her, and they do. They try to keep her talking, but she keeps going silent for longer periods of time. When they ask her why she's not talking, she says, "Every time I talk, blood comes out of my mouth." She's 5. And then eventually, she can be heard saying that the tank is beside her. They are beside her. They killed this little girl. The movie that has just come out was done because they were able to obtain the entire 70-minute recording that transpired. And if you've seen it, Brad Pitt signed on and some other folks signed on as producers of the film. It just came out. It received the longest standing ovation in history, 24 minutes. And people don't want this story told. They do not want you to understand that when Israel says, "Oh, we're telling them to evacuate," sometimes they get a phone call, sometimes they just get hit by drones, and that's your message to evacuate. They evacuate, they are sent, they get somewhere else, and they are unalived during that evacuation. They are killed during that evacuation. The voice of Hind Rajab It just came out. If you follow me on TikTok, I have reposted a video that talks about this entire thing that plays part of her the phone call. Sorry. I did not think that I was going to get this emotional today because, like, I already know the story. I've already seen the video. Like, I didn't really think that it was going to be this emotional, but it definitely is. Her mother has never joined TikTok, and so they are trying to help her click the link and join so that she can talk. So we are all waiting for her to be able to join so that we can hear from her. There is Abu Saraj is going to translate. If you have the ability and you have TikTok and you want to join and help protect the live, because there will be people that try to report it and try to get it taken down, please feel free to do that. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to not take my word for it. I'm going to ask you to go look it up. Her name is Hind, Hind, Rajab, Rajab. You can listen to the voice recording. You can hear this baby's voice as she is asking them to stay with her. You can hear her when she says, every time I talk, there's blood in my mouth. You can hear her when she says, they're all dead. You can hear her talking about this and what has happened. And so this is really important for people to understand. This is not a the Israeli forces are it is not a case of they are urging people to relocate and to evacuate so that they can be safe or to go to safe zones. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. And it is important for people to understand that talking about this is not being anti-Semitic. Talking about this is not being against Jewish people. Talking about this is none of that. Talking about this is what every single person should be doing because it is wrong, period. I don't care what faith you are, killing children. And I need for you to understand that about 50% of the Palestinian population are children. Do you hear me? 50%. Matter of fact, I might be able to share this with you. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. If I can get to this, I'm going to play the video for you. Give me 1 moment, please. Give me 1 second, people, please. There he is. All right, 1 moment. As soon as she is able to join, you all, I promise I will turn the volume up over there so that you can hear. But I want you all to see and hear this. So give me 1 moment, okay? Mimi, can you turn that down for me? All right. So can you all, yes, you can see. Great. I know this might be small. Let me see if I can maximize. There we go. That's better, correct? Okay. So give me 1 moment. I need for the volume to be on. I'm going to turn the volume all the way up.
at nearly 24 minutes. Why did this film break the record for the longest standing ovation at nearly 24 minutes? And who is it about? The film, The Voice of Hind Rajab, premiered at the Venice Film Festival on Wednesday. It tells the story of Hind Rajab, the 5-year-old Palestinian child who became a symbol of Israel's atrocities in Gaza. Her story began on January 29, 2024, when Israel's military told residents of Gaza City to evacuate immediately. So Hind's family got in a car and began to drive north. But a few hundred meters later, they stopped. Hind's 15-year-old cousin Leanne called her uncle to tell him they were surrounded and Israel's army had opened fire on the car, killing everyone inside apart from her and Hind. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society, or PRCS, made contact with Leanne that afternoon.
الو مرحبا. انتم متخبيين؟
بالسيارة احنا ضمنين الضفادع.
انتم جوا السيارة؟ الو
62 gunshots could be heard over just 6 seconds as Leanne screamed for her life and the call ended in just under a minute. The PRCS called back immediately and Hind picked up.
ميتين؟ وهم هلا بعد بالسيارة؟ هي جاية عليكي من قدام السيارة الدبابة؟ قريب كتير؟ وعم تمشي؟ ما بدنا نخاف. أنا معك يا عمري.
The Red Crescent got permission from Israel's defense ministry to send an ambulance to try rescue Hind, but as the ambulance turned onto Hind Street, explosions were heard and the line dropped. The paramedics were no longer responding. Hind was still on the call, alone and surrounded by the dead bodies of her family members. It was beginning to get dark. The Red Crescent had gotten her mother on the phone. They all did what they could to get her to keep talking, but she began to fall silent for long periods of time. When they asked why she wasn't speaking, she said, "Every time I talk, blood comes out of my mouth and makes my clothes dirty, and I don't want my mom to have to clean it." They told her to stay in the car where they could find her, and that if night comes and they still haven't arrived, she should close her eyes so she doesn't see the tanks.
حبيبتي والله لو بإيدي لأجيكي.
The call broke off shortly after. They tried to call again and again, but no one answered. No one could reach the area for nearly 2 weeks. Once they did, they saw the Red Crescent ambulance that had come to try rescue her was a burned out shell, with almost nothing remaining of the paramedics' bodies. Further up the street, the door and parts of the hood from Hind's car had been torn off. The windows were blown out and it was covered in bullet holes. A total of 335 bullets had been fired at the car. The body of Hind's uncle was still dangling from the driver's seat. The car smelled of decomposing corpses from the dead bodies of the 5 children piled together in the back seat. The family was buried together outside Al-Shifa Hospital, and their murder became a rallying cry for activists around the world. Students raised awareness about Hind on university campuses worldwide, and the Hind Rajab Foundation was set up to prosecute Israeli soldiers accused of war crimes internationally. When Tunisian filmmaker Kawthar Ben Hania heard the audio recording of Hind, she decided to drop everything and make the film, saying, "I cannot accept a world where a child calls for help and no one comes." She got the full 70-minute audio from the Red Crescent and testimonies from Hind's mother and others who had been over the phone, reconstructing the story. Once it was underway, names like Brad Pitt, Joaquin Phoenix, Rooney Mara, Jonathan Glazer, and Alfonso Cuarón signed on as executive producers. It was then nominated for the Golden Lion, the highest prize given to films at the Venice Film Festival, to mark important contributions to cinema. In a time where people are constantly exposed to short bursts of violence and suffering online, Ben Hania focused on the retelling of violence through Hind's voice rather than video. In this way, she said, cinema can preserve a memory and cinema can resist amnesia. The movie, a simple story about a child being trapped alone and no one coming to rescue her, may do exactly that. Why did this film break the record for the longest standing ovation?
I hope that you all understand what this means. I hope that you understand somebody mentioned to me. Sorry, people were tagging me. Sorry, I'm trying to follow what's happening. Okay. So I am live, as you can see, not for me. But because I want you all to hear from her mother, just so that you all know, there are people that have set up foundations in her daughter's name, and GoFundMe's in her name, and the family is not getting any of that assistance. My understanding is that she is not getting any of this. The movie just let me ask. Hold on, Doug. It is her voice. Can you imagine telling a 5-year-old that's in a car with her entire dead family with a tank beside her to not be scared? As if there's any way that she could ever not be scared.
So Kenda's the uncle of Hind Rajab. Go ahead, brother. You can finish up. We just wanted to say salam. Just to finish the point that you are absolutely a bipartisan decision by both major parties to commit and invest heavily, but to commit and fund this genocide immensely.
I believe that you can watch it on. It says that you can watch it on Prime. Let me look real quick because I have it. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me now?
The media at that point a little bit started to backtrack, right? And they started to cover in a way that I had. And at that
Can you all hear me now?
people know that this is just them trying to escape accountability. They have been providing cover for this genocide and Holocaust for
Hey, Dr. Emmy.
and they can no longer do it. Whether it
Can you all hear me now? Yes. Okay, great. So it was just at the Venice Film Festival. It's at the Toronto Film Festival today. Once it completes its festival run, yeah, baby. Yes, you can. Then we'll know when it's going to get into theaters, if it's going to get into theaters, and then what streaming platforms will be brave enough to actually air it. So I will keep you all. It's not on Prime, Doug. That's my thing. Is I just checked and it's not there. The name of the movie is The Voice of Hind, Rajab. That's the name.
It was a mistake. It was a tragic mistake. So then at that point, there is no providing cover. Right? So you're right about that.
So I just want to make sure that I will let you all know as soon as I know where we can watch it. And if it ends up not being streamed but available for purchase, I will purchase it and I will host a viewing the same way that I have for other movies. So this is a civil rights attorney out of Chicago that is talking now. He is talking about, you know, them being told to go to this particular safe zone and then 200 pounds of a bomb being dropped on that safe zone once they get them there. This is not, I need for people to understand. This is what's happening. I sit with Palestinian journalists almost every day. Almost every day. I personally hear bombs in the background. Yesterday, I was on with five journalists yesterday, maybe six, and a bomb went off so close to Samir. He was off camera, and people were texting via WhatsApp and trying to make sure that he was okay. Like, these are the things that are happening. When you understand that there's a direct correlation between the United States of America and what Israel is doing, it becomes your responsibility as American citizens to dig in and to understand what's happening and why it's happening. If you have not listened to the podcast episode that I released yesterday, you should know that that the Anti-Defamation League and other private organizations are paying for our police departments to go to Israel and be trained by the Israeli Defense Force. They are paying for our police officers in the United States to be trained by Israeli soldiers. And these are people who have been found to use excessive force, to commit war crimes, to commit crimes against individuals. And this is who's training our police force. You can find these articles on Amnesty International. As a matter of fact, on the DOJ's website, I literally have, I'll show you. I was putting this together this morning for you all so that you can see. So let me see if I can show you. So do you see each one of these? I'm going through the Department of Justice archives, right? And so I'm going through these DOJ archives, specifically looking for police use of force. And then I'm looking at their actual determinations of which police departments are using excessive force. And then also looking at the police that are being trained by Israeli forces. So I'm going to give you an example. Right here. So
that's a lie because only 25% of the scholars voted.
So do you see this? Hold on, it's going to ask for donations, of course. All right. So when you look, this article is from 2016, but Israel's police force have chronic human rights violations. And it's going to show you that we have law enforcement officials from Baltimore, Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, Arizona, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, North Carolina, Georgia, Washington State, and the DC Capitol Police. And it shows you, look, since 2002, these are private organizations that are paying to have them train our police. So you have to understand that all of that, it is connected together, and none of this is about being anti-Semitic. Nobody I personally don't have an issue with anyone's religion at all, right? I do have an issue with you killing children and women and innocent people. I do have an issue with you committing an ethnic cleansing and a genocide because you want people's land. And that's what this is about. Now that I know, I can't unknow it. Now that I know that this land, all of it belonged to Palestine, and that the British gave it to Israel to establish a Jewish agency, I can't unknow that. I can't unknow this document. So let me show you. I'm going to show you this other document. Give me 1 second. So this document, this draft memorandum by the director of the Office of the United States, a nation of the UN, to Undersecretary of State Lovett. I can't not know this anymore. Let me maximize this because I want you all to see this. Listen at what this document says.
Because you cannot deny that it's a genocide. And according to
yeah, Brad Short, I hear you. So listen at what this says. This actually says the refusal of the Jewish agency. This is so the subject. This is 1948, people. And it says subject, future course of events in Palestine. This was just declassified in 2018. It was secret. This is on history.state.gov. I am literally on the archives for the Office of the Historians for the Department of State. So this is not some random something somewhere. This is it. You ready? And here's what it says. It says the refusal of the Jewish agency last night to agree to our proposal for on-the-spot truce negotiations in Palestine on the grounds that they could not accept the quote-unquote moral obligation to undertake such conversations rather clearly reveals the intention of the Jews to go steadily ahead with the Jewish separate state by force of arms. While it is possible that Arab acceptance of our proposal might place the Jewish agency in such a position of public opinion that it would have to go through the motions of looking for a truce, it seems clear that in light of the Jewish military superiority which now obtains in Palestine, the Jewish agency will prefer to round out its state after May 15th and rely on its armed strength to defend that state from Arab counterattack. Now, listen at what it says. Military operations after May 15th will probably be undertaken by the Haganah with the assistance of the Jewish terrorist organizations Irgun and Stern. Irgun and Stern have now become the IDF. Copies of Consul General Wasson's excellent reports as set forth in his telegram 530 of May 3rd are attached, and they provide the estimate of the British general officer commanding as to the probable cause of military events after British withdrawal on May 15th. Listen at this. If these predictions come true, we shall find ourselves in the UN confronted by a very anomalous situation. The Jews will be the actual aggressors against the Arabs. In other words, Israel, the state of Israel that was formed in 1948, will be the aggressors against the Palestinians. However, the Israel will claim that they are merely defending their state and their boundaries of a state which were traced by the UN, right? So not by the Palestinians. The UN traced these boundaries and approved, at least in principle, by the 2/3 of the UN membership. So tell me how the United Nations determined what part of Palestine to give to Israel. It was not theirs to give away. They belonged to the Ottoman Empire, not to Great Britain. And it says, listen to this, the question will confront the Security Council in scarcely 10 days' time will be whether Israeli armed attack on Palestinian communities, right, is legitimate, or whether it constitutes such a threat to international peace and security as to call for coercive measures by the Security Council. Guys, these are facts. This is a fact that all the way back in 1948, the United Nations knew that Israel was not going to agree to the boundaries that had been outlined in Palestine, that they were going to attempt to take Palestine by force, and that the UN was going to have to determine if they were going to back them in these efforts. And what has happened since 1948 is the West defending, supplying, supporting, and arming Israel against the Palestinian people. Since 1948, Israel controls the air, the land, and the sea. Israel controls, if they get to go anywhere inside of Palestine, there are people in Gaza City that have never left Gaza. There are people, they're not allowed to go to the West Bank. There are roads that they're not allowed to travel on. Do you all understand that? It's an open air prison. I sit on lives with them every day, and I hear drones, and I hear bombs, and I hear children crying, and I hear people scared, and I see buildings drop, and I see people having to dig out of the rubble. And this is not because of Hamas. Let's just be clear. Hamas was not formed until 1988, after 40 years of fucking occupation. I just need to be clear about that. Hamas was not formed until after 40 years of occupation. And I can tell you this, after 40 years of being occupied, you might form some sort of resistance yourself. How long would you sit back and let people attack your land and attack your homes and steal your homes and kill your children? Do you all know that prior to October 7th, Israel determined how much aid came into Palestine? They literally counted and weighed the number of calories that were allowed to come into Palestine. Physicians, Dr. Mimi Syed was just with me again yesterday. And do you know what she said? Even when she comes there, right? Even when she comes there, she's only allowed to bring 2 weeks worth of food for herself. No, James Dean, you're incorrect. And I literally just showed you a document from 1948. So if you would like to talk about facts, we can talk about facts. But what you won't do is come here and say shit that's just not true. I want to be very clear about that. That's not true.
صحيح.
يا سيدي أهلا
فلسطين ابو
وسهلا.
سراج.
بالله عليك.
حبيبي الله يسعدك.
يا هلا.
على حساب كندا بنتي انا باجي عندك بحسابي احمد فلسطين.
Now, James Dean, if you want to join this conversation with me, if you want to get on a live one day and talk fact for fact, we can do that. But you won't get on here and repeat rhetoric that's not true.
بحاول اتواصل معهم على الانترنت ابو سراج. انا موجود.
تقدر تبعت رقم نكلمهم جوال اشي حاجة، انا ممكن اتصل عليهم بس اعرف يعني شو اللي بصير معهم.
كان ده الرقم اللي وديت لي اياه جوال.
اي رقم؟ لا ما بعتش رقم انا.
مش
حبيت اودي لك اخو ابو سراج رقم ابوها.
ابو هند.
ابوها لوسام.
ابوها لوسام. اوكي.
هي عند ابوها حاليا.
Okay, let me be clear.
Daddy Kenda is Hind Rajab's uncle.
Thank you.
Wesam's brother, the mom of Hind Rajab.
So let me be
That's who
clear,
Kenda is.
James Dean. The only genocide that is being that is being conducted
So we do have
is
a
by
family member on the
Israel.
panel. Go ahead, Wesam.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're trying to make sure that that we will be in touch with her very soon, guys. So stay tuned. تفضل أخي.
اخوي ابو سراج هي الرقم عندك ابو ايهاب هذا ابوها لوسام بكون.
اوكي ماشي.
So this is Kenda is you understand that? Okay, because what it sounds like you are saying they are doing to Palestine. Who is doing to Palestine? You mean Israel?
Good morning, everybody. So glad to see you all. My question is, I have had several conversations with friends and family regarding the horrors that are going on. And several have popped back at me that, I don't know if you heard about the little girl in Scotland that got arrested for wielding a knife and a axe against two
Okay,
Muslim
sorry,
men
I'm fussing
who
and
she claims
it's
were
just because I
abusing her.
misunderstood your comment.
Anyway,
I think.
it's been in the news, and they say, see, that's the problem.
Yes.
It's all these immigrants in Europe, and they're all Muslim, and they're causing problems. And so, Palestine is the same thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's definitely not the same thing. These people aren't immigrating anywhere. They just want to live in their land. And is there some way I can counter what they're saying to get them to understand the difference?
I'm sorry, James, if I'm fussing at you because I
Pakistani
misunderstood.
Muslims are not Palestinians, but they don't get that.
That's because people are
So
stupid.
I'll just say this, right? Islam is a beautiful religion, right? Alhamdulillah, I am Muslim, okay? But we cannot say that all Muslims are this way. So just like any other religion, okay, just like any other groups or anything like that, there are some bad apples. There are some, and I'm not really familiar with the story, but I'm just.
Do you all know that they are charging Palestinians $1,000 for tents
right?
after they blow up their homes and their residential buildings? $1,000 for a tent.
But this is what they're going to try.
But they can't have poles because poles are dual use items. How the fuck do you put up a tent without poles? Sorry, James. I did not expect to be this emotional.
Yeah, guys, I just called
But
the father of Wesam, and he told me that there's a targeting in their house, and they are in a dangerous situation. And he just hung up. He couldn't speak more. So
yeah, so they're targeting the family.
So apparently they either targeted their building or they are about to target their building. So he couldn't speak to me. That's why she's not responding to our messages. I really hope that they're gonna be fine and safe. After all, this is what to expect. Like they are not leaving them alone, as you can see.
No, they're not.
Are they in the north or the south? Sorry.
No, you can go for it.
I was Raj.
I believe they are probably in the north, in Gaza City, probably.
Give me 1 second.
Go ahead, DJ K. I'm sorry.
No problem. So yeah, Mary, I'm just gonna say this, right? And again, this is my beliefs, and I find it to be absolutely true. So Islam is perfect, right? But Muslims themselves are not perfect. So I just wanted to make that distinction there, right? And let people understand.
Okay.
Again, I have not heard that story. And people in the comments are saying that that story is not being portrayed correctly based on what you're saying. And I'm not saying that you obviously are not doing this intentionally. Maybe you don't have all the facts.
No.
But again,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it was very unclear.
Yeah, so basically when it comes down to it, like I said, they're constantly trying to push Islamophobia. They're absolutely trying to push Islamophobia and trying to push anti-Islam rhetoric. They have been doing this for decades and decades and decades, and they've been indoctrinating. We can even see after 9/11 in New York, right? That was the biggest push of anti-Islam rhetoric that I have seen. I was in college at the time, and it was dangerous, right? They want to try to make Muslims feel uncomfortable, and they want to put Muslims in danger. And they will continue to gaslight this as much as they possibly can to get people to sympathize with them, to get people back on their side, to get people to start to say, oh, well, you know what? The problem with the world is Islam. And we know there has been a global war on Islam. nobody can deny that there's been a global war on Islam for decades. So I'll leave it there. Go ahead, Danny. Did you want to say something?
I did, and the reason I do is because, yeah. Okay, bring me the remote. Okay, and the reason why I do is this is I feel like it's really, really important for people to understand that any religion will have and usually does have some form of extremism, right? We have seen Christianity extremists, right? Christian extremists use that religion to do horrible things. I said this earlier, and I will say it again. If you really want to understand, like what DJK just said about after 9/11, is just Google the hashtag after September 11th, and you will understand exactly what happened to and it wasn't even that necessarily they were all Muslim, but for people who thought that they were, for people that were Sikh or that were Hindu or any other religion, because Americans can be so damn dumb. We don't understand that not everybody that that looks the same is of the same religion, right? And so I think that it's really important for people to understand that. Islam is one of the most, if not is one of the most peaceful religions I have ever seen, along with Buddhism. And so what I will say is that extremists will exist. And the thing that I would say to someone who asks me about that, or who says that that the problem is that Muslims are moving other places and all of that, the first thing that I would say is, if Christians would stop trying to take over everybody else's land and convert them, maybe people could stay at home, right? And I'm a little
I also offer some insight, Miriam. I studied this stuff and I write about this extensively. And this is a very common trope that it's the Muslim immigration to Europe or the Asian immigration to Europe is causing these problems. And the reality is the data just doesn't back that up. The data shows the exact opposite. And when you look at the data of the United Kingdom, for example, 9% of the population are Asian. 9%. And when you look at the convictions of how many people are convicted, only 6% of convictions are Asian. So there's a 50% lower convict rate. You know, if there's a proportionality or consistency of committing crimes, then it should be by 9%. But Asians are 50% less likely to be convicted of crimes or to commit crimes than other demographics. White people make up about 83-84% of the United Kingdom, and they are about 80%.
Give me the thing if you want me to put it on.
So they actually have a significantly higher conviction rate than do Asians, because they have a higher crime rate than do Asians. And this is where the media narrative and the disinformation narrative comes out, that one Asian who commits a crime is suddenly, and you know, as my esteemed colleagues have already pointed this out, one person perceived to be Muslim mentions something, and then suddenly the whole community is demonized for that one act. Whereas if you're a white person who commits a crime, you have the benefit of being an individual and representing only yourself. And so I agree. Yes, Islam is perfect. I agree with group as extremists, but for me, this is about the data. What the data actually shows is that consistently, statistically, factually, Muslims and Asians have a much lower crime rate in the UK, much lower crime rate in the United States, around the world, than any other demographic. And that's the factual narrative.
Yeah, guys, I have an update. First of all, I just want to tell you that our brothers from Yemen launched 6 drones towards Israel, and one of them exploded in Ramoun airport, and 8 injuries were reported till now. So Yemen and its resistance. The second update regarding what is happening with Hind Rajab's family. So apparently the occupation forces have sent immediate evacuation orders.
Stop that, please.
For Al-Ru'ya building and its surroundings in Tel El-Hawa neighborhood, which is a place very close to where Hind Rajab was unalived, which means that her family are being evacuated and they are being displaced now, as the occupation forces will be targeting those blocks right now in Tel El-Hawa neighborhood in Gaza City. So I believe this is why they got busy and they are not responding, because they just received immediate evacuation orders, and the occupation forces will be targeting the area, I believe, in the coming 10 to 15 minutes.
Inshallah khair. That being said, can we all take a moment and make a prayer for everyone in that area for their safety?
And then, I believe Danny was, did you want to finish what you were saying, Danny?
No, well, I first wanted to say we've got less than 5 minutes and we need 4 other people to finish the flash goal at the top. So if 4 people could do that and get it taken care of, that would be great.
I know this was a struggle. Qasim, if we can just reroute it to a live about if anyone has questions for you, is that okay with you? Or
Please, yeah, by all means.
yeah, we did not know this was gonna happen, y'all. Obviously, her safety is more important than her coming on a live. So I'd
100%.
rather her safety. Oh, hey, Bobby. I'd rather her safety, her safety more than anything.
Hi, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I had a quick question. I remember learning in when I studied IR about international law and
So for those of you all who did not hear, Kenda, who is Hind Rajab's uncle, joined the panel briefly because we could not get Wesam on. And the reason why we could not get Wesam on is because her family has been notified that they need to evacuate, and that Israeli Defense Forces are going to be attacking, whether that is bombing or whatever, that area where they are located. And so it is not safe for her. They are literally about to evacuate now. And so it is more important for them to evacuate and attempt to get somewhere to safety than for her to try to join this TikTok at the moment. So she's not going to be able to join. Qasim, who is a civil rights attorney out of Chicago, who has talked to Wesam is on the panel. Her uncle left as well so that they could get to safety. And so that's what the panel is right now.
That there's any implications, what might happen from that, or how that might change the power dynamics within the international political stage. And also, you're a great attorney and studying for my LSATs currently. So sorry.
Is this question directed towards me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, I think we're seeing progress on a global scale. More and more countries are openly stating that they're going to recognize a Palestinian state and that they will be stopping arms to the Israeli government as well.
And you got to understand that that's what needs to happen. Israel would not be able to do what they are doing without the assistance of the United States of America. We are committing this genocide and this ethnic cleansing by enabling Israel to do so.
History of human rights injustices. Russia invading Ukraine, China with the Uyghur genocide. But really, on a global scale, if the G8, stand firm and kind of form a new bloc of recognizing the Palestinian statehood, recognizing the need for there to possibly even be a shift of where the UN headquarters are located, then I think we can be in a better position in the coming days. And this is where, on a global scale, whatever country you're in, you should be contacting your elected officials and emphasizing the importance of them upholding international human rights law, the UN Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. These are all binding international treaties which would recognize Palestinian statehood and the right for Palestinian sovereignty as well. So I think we are in the right direction, but we have a long way to go yet.
100%.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'll just, I guess if it's okay, I'm gonna make a comment. Yeah, I can predict seeing how if it's going, because I feel also, you can tell me if I'm wrong. If not, we're not only is Israel isolating itself, with they've obviously been losing their soft power, but we're also losing. We're also further isolating ourselves. And like you said, now we're relying now with China and Russia, and with the formation of BRICS and stuff. I could maybe see the power shift dynamics furthering away from the dominance within the United States and our stronghold within their international political economy. Just the world stage. I know it's gonna take a long time because of how many military bases and everything that we have. Do you think that would be possible?
It's hard to say at this point. It's just too early to say. I really want to see what happens at the UN General Assembly later this month. I think we should be hopeful, but my advice is let's just keep our foot on the accelerator and keep pushing forward, keep advocating right now. I'm careful to speak ahead of what's already happened. I just want to focus on where we need to be going right now.
100%.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thank you so much. Also, I have a quick question. How do you, because I know international law is hard to get into.
I don't do that
like just because I wanted to do more work in advocacy space. When you're trying to be an attorney, how do you do that, or is it even possible?
The best way
baby.
is to start working with attorneys
So-
who are already working in the international law space, either as a paralegal or as an assistant, just to understand how it works. I tell young people going into law that if you really want to be effective in law, don't start into pro bono human rights work right away. Work in big law for a couple of years, because
Give me a second.
as much work as it is, it teaches you how to be a good lawyer. In the human rights law space, there's very little training provided, and you're just kind of thrown in on the deep end of the pool. Rather than simply jumping in and trying to figure out on your own, work with seasoned attorneys in the business law and the corporate litigation space to understand how the law works, how to write a brief, how to research a brief, how to apply the law, how to work under, with judges. If you can clerk for a judge, that's always critical. But spend 4 to 5 years really refining your skills and understanding the basics of how the law works. Once you do that, you can be that much more effective in working in the international human rights law space. You can pay off your student debt. You can have some financial security, because international human rights law rarely pays well. But once you've built the skills and understood how to write these critical legal arguments, how to make the arguments in front of a court, in front of a judge, then you can be that much more effective for these international human rights law cases. And then to your question about how to get in, you'll have built those relationships over those 4 to 5 years, and it'll become much more clear to you how to jump into those spaces as well.
Thank you so much.
Qasim, I have a question for you. Now, as a Gazan, I always have this feeling that something bad might happen to me or to the remaining family members. So I've always wanted to give my testimony before something like this happens. For me, as a civilian in Gaza, as an eyewitness to so many war crimes, if I wanted to give a testimony, where should I go, or who should I talk to?
Is this a testimony that you want to give in case, God forbid, you face shahadat, or is this something you want to publish now?
No, it is something I want to publish now. It is like I have been trying to do that here on TikTok, but I really want to get to more people, and I really want more people to listen to what is happening here. As an English-speaking Gazan, is there a way to do that?
There are many ways to do that. I can help you with that. I've got my own nationally broadcast radio show on Sirius XM. We can do a thorough interview on that. I have a human rights newsletter that is read by more than 2 million people every month. We can publish your testimony on there. I can connect you with other journalists who have large platforms in audio and in the video space, and we can record your own words, your own voice, your own video if you feel comfortable, and publish it. There's no shortage of ways to get these stories out. If you want to connect with me offline, we can talk in detail, and I'm at your full disposal.
Mashallah.
Consider me at your full disposal to elevate your voice as much as we possibly can and get it out to as many people as possible.
Mashallah.
Well, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, brother. I followed you.
W.
And
Qasim.
we will be in touch, inshallah. Because, I know it's risky, guys. I know that those who speak up, especially the ones inside the Gaza Strip, will definitely become a target. But after all, someone needs to do that. We need more voices to be amplified, and this is our duty as Palestinians, as an eyewitnesses to this G-side. We need to speak up, and I have decided to be part of this, inshallah. So I will be in touch, brother. Thank you.
Inshallah.
See, baby.
That's amazing. I do think that Abu Siraj's voice should be heard out throughout the world. He is in
100%.
Gaza, and he's living it firsthand experience. So this is not for a testimony from someone else. This is his true life testimony. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. Nice to see your face.
Yeah, of course. No, my entire platform exists specifically for upholding universal human rights. And even now, as we're talking, I'm getting anonymous private messages from people from the community mission threatening to come to my home, threatening to wipe me off the street. I'm literally, as we're having this, I'm getting messages from anonymous accounts threatening to expose me and come to my home. They sent me my home address and everything. And so these threats are real. And in my view, we have two choices. We can either be silent and back down, or we can double down. Because at the end of the day, we all have to face our creator. And I will, I'm far from a perfect human being. But one thing I want to be able to say when my time comes that I did everything I could with the resources given to me.
100%.
And so you have my commitment to continue to uphold justice and humanity as we are called to do as human beings, as Muslims, as our Master Prophet Muhammad instructed of us. So for all these reasons, I am at the disposal of every voice who wants to elevate the injustices they're facing and inshallah try to bring about meaningful change. It's the very least I've been fortunate and blessed in my life, and this is the very least I can do to elevate those voices.
Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to send you a message. I would love to be able to get you on a live with me and maybe even a podcast episode. I have a decent little platform that there are just people who, like me, did not know. I have said this to so many people, just being raised the way that I was in the South, and as a Christian, and all of these things. There were just things that I did not know, and now that I know, I can't unknow them. And we need to make sure that as many people as possible understand what is happening. So I'll reach out to you, and I would love the opportunity to be able to just kind of let you inform more people that follow me, who have the same background and the same types of upbringing, so that they get more information out. So thank you for your work.
I think Bobby also had a question. Bobby, did you want to ask your question, brother? First of all, how are you, Habibi Salam?
Alhamdulillah. Hope everyone's well. I'm sorry to hear that you're getting attacked with threats. It's I hate to say this. I keep telling everyone this is a hostile environment that we're in.
It is.
With these
Bobby.
As you see what they do to Palestinians. They unalive, they kill. The threats that they do to us, this is to try to stop us from even attempting to talk about the horrors that they're doing back home. And the threats are real. Take it seriously, because these people are psychotic, because you see what they're doing back home to our people. So I'm sorry that you're going through this. Thank you for doing what you do. Like I say to everyone, thank you. I appreciate everything you do for Palestine and Gaza as a whole. I didn't have a comment. I just come in now. I appreciate everything everyone is doing. I've missed everyone. Thanks for having me. If I've missed anyone out in the comments, I'm sorry that they're going too fast today. I can't keep up.
Bobby.
But yeah, I really, really appreciate what you're doing. Are you a lawyer yourself, or are you in? You are.
I've been practicing about 15 years now.
So for those of you all who are watching on other platforms, what I'm going to do is, I don't know if it is beneficial for me to stay here and let you all hear the rest of what's happening, or not.
The Israelis get more complacent with what they're doing. It becomes normal. They dehumanize Palestinians to a level where the world has believed that it's become normal to do it, and they don't see it.
It's a lot,
you can
people.
see the patterns, and I've been telling everyone, if you see the patterns of the last.
Ronnie had a question. So for those of you all that maybe just be listening, Bobby, as you can hear, is in the UK, but he's also Palestinian.
Just a radio presenter.
The original intent was to have Wesam with us today. However, her family has received an evacuation notice from the Israeli Defense Force, and that is the IDF. And so we are not sure whether it's just her family in particular or whether their entire community is being targeted. But they are now kind of scrambling and needing to move to stay safe. So Kenda, who is Hind Rajab's uncle, was with us for a moment. He also left the panel to try to get with the family to ensure that they remain safe. Things have escalated for their family since the premiere of the movie has happened. And as you all can imagine, that there are people that are not happy that this movie has been made, that the information is getting out, that the narrative around what's happening in Palestine is changing. But it is. And we must keep the pressure up for that to happen. Folks, I'm just going to tell you, once you understand, once you really know what has transpired and how we got to where we are, I hope that you feel a responsibility to share it with everybody in your life who does not know. Yes, Doug, there were 5 children. They were all the family together. Yep. There were 5 children in the back of that car. Abu Sarraj has lost 23 members of his family. He's approaching 30 years old. He's 28. He's never known a day of freedom. He has never known a day of peace in his entire life. When you understand that about 50% of the Palestinian population are children, then you know that what's happening. I'm going to be doing some clips from the interview that I did with Dr. Mimi yesterday, but I will tell you this. I'm going to see if I can find it real quickly, because she talked about the fact that of the children that she treated in Gaza, and she was there for 2 different missions, 86% of her patients were young children. I'm going to say that again. 86% of her patients were young children. This is an American physician born in Chicago. I know. Be careful, please. So when people say inshallah, inshallah means God willing. When people say mashallah, mashallah means God has willed it. What? Yep. If you'll give me 1 second, I will. So Doug, I will tell you, let me see if I can find the video for you. There is an Israeli official who is being interviewed by a European journalist. She asks him, why not bring the Palestinian children into Israel? And he says to her, because they are the enemy. And she says, the children are an enemy? And he says, yes, they are Palestinian. They are the enemy. And this is what I want people to understand, is this is not about Jewish versus Arab. This is not about Jewish versus Muslim. Arabic is the language they speak. They are Muslim. They practice Islam, but there are also Palestinian Jews. There are also Palestinian Christians, and the IDF are targeting any of them. It does not matter what religion they practice. They are being targeted because they are Palestinian. So when you understand that they consider the children to be the enemy, then you understand that that's what they intend. So listen, she talks about having in one day 40 patients come in, 40 children come in, all of them with a single shot. And the shot is either to the head, to the chest or to the abdomen, and in some cases for the boys to their testicles. One shot. This is not a happenstance of crossfire. This is intentional sniper targeting of children because they believe those children to be the future of Palestine, and they do not want there to be a future of Palestine. They want the future of Palestine is for Palestine to be the state of Israel.
And so even if corporate media chooses not to air something or
I hope that makes it clear.
I can, and I have nearly 2 million people who follow the content, the videos, the audios, and
You have Israeli officials, government officials.
Yep. So hold on. I'm going to show you. This is Dr. Mimi Saeed. She was with me yesterday. I'm going to share. This is her with me yesterday. All right. So listen. And the fact that it's not random, it's not crossfire. There are people that will say what's happening in Palestine is not a genocide. It's not ethnic cleansing. It's not whatever. What do you say to people who say that?
I think they need to read up more. They need to actually educate themselves. But you can call it whatever you want. This is a genocide, but you can call it whatever you want. The facts are still the same. The numbers and what's happening it's still the same. It doesn't change anything. You can say it's genocide. You can say it's ethnic cleansing. You can just say it's just indiscriminate killing of children. But numbers don't lie, right? And that's what I always point to is the Israeli government has published their own numbers of the statistics of people who are killed in Gaza. 84% of those people are civilians.
Yes, 100%.
So I'm not making it up. That's something the Israeli government has published. The UN has said that over 70% of the civilians that are killed or the casualties are women and children. My own statistic each time was over 80% of children. Every single doctor that's gone in there, same thing. Videos coming out of there, the pictures and videos that we are taking, coming back and showing the world. They're whole children. We are seeing all of this, not to mention you have Israeli officials, government officials saying things like, Eyal Zamir, I think I mentioned him last time. He is the chief of the IDF. He says, besiege them, let them die of hunger. He said that after the IPC report was published. Yes. I mean, that's the IDF army chief. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If that's the directive he's giving his soldiers, what are people thinking? Well, how is this even being questioned? Think about that. That's what I say to people is ask yourself why you're questioning it. I don't think you should accept everything, blindly. I think people should think independently and have educated, they should be educated on their judgments and things like that. But ask yourself why you're having such a hard time accepting it when all of this evidence points towards it.
We were talking about this the other day about why people have a hard time accepting it. And for me, so I wanted to just share that piece of audio with you that was part of my interview with her yesterday, where you heard her say that her own numbers are more than 80%. Further in that interview, she goes on to say that 86% of her patients in Gaza are children, and she says young children. So these are American doctors. She's an American doctor. There are European doctors. There are doctors from all over the world, which, by the way, she was just denied re-entry into Gaza to help last month. She went in August of 2024. She was there in December 2024. She has been speaking out since then, and they denied her re-entry. Hi, baby.
Today we have Qasim Rashid, so that's what we do here.
Okay, I was just curious, but everybody, it was great to meet everybody, and I can't wait to take.
If you all have questions for Qasim, who is the international human rights lawyer that is with us on this panel, and he's out of Chicago, please type them in the chat. I will be more than happy to ask them. And if you have a question for Abu Siraj, who is also, he's in Gaza, please type them in the chat and I will be happy to ask them.
It will be two completely different types of lives. So I'm going to comment with, this is my backup. I'm going to comment from my main account where I will be hosting the live in the chat right now. And then if you guys can please follow and register for my event. Abu Siraj also, he's on the panel right now. If you're not following Abu Siraj, I don't know what the hell y'all are doing. Follow him and register for his event tomorrow morning as well. Go ahead, Ron, you were able.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, baby.
First of all, salam alaikum, everyone. Again.
She what?
Qasim, I just have a question for you. First of all, thank you for everything that you're doing. And I'm sorry to hear about.
Don't write on her bowl, okay?
I think that comes with advocacy for Palestinian rights.
Do any of you all have questions?
So we all feel you. We all are in the same shoes as you at this point. As a human rights attorney with the specialty in human rights, I wanted to get your thoughts on the three Palestinian human rights organizations, Al-Haq, Al-Mizan, and the Palestinian Center for Human Rights, that were just sanctioned by the U.S. government earlier this week. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Sure. I don't know enough about them individually to speak on them individually, but what I can say on the broader scale is that this is a current administration that has completely disregarded any norms of international human rights law and U.S. policy as well. So I take
100%.
everything they do with a grain of salt. Their focus is not justice. Their focus is securing absolute power. Remember, this is the same regime that pardoned all 1,500 people convicted on January 6th. These people included, violent people who attacked police officers, who broke into the Capitol.
Okay, so it looks like none of you all have questions. This is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to join TikTok. If you have a TikTok account, I am on this panel. So if you follow me, all you have to do is look up at the top. You will see the live that I am on, and if you click it, you will join it. I need to shut this down. Over there, I am not on camera and I'm on mute. And so like the kids are now up and moving around, and I need to go ahead and cook for them. When I am on Palestinian lives, I do not eat. I do not talk about food. I do not come on camera when I'm cooking, because I understand that these are people that are in a famine, a man-made intentional famine, and I do not do that in front of them, but I need to do that. So I'm going to get off of this live with you all. I'm going to ask you to join the one that is on TikTok. But I will be live later today and also tomorrow as usual. Thank you all for joining. Please go to my link tree. If you haven't already, look up things called like the Balfour Declaration. Look up the link to the letter that I just read from you from the United Nations and the Undersecretary of State from 1948. Become informed, become accurately informed, challenge your thoughts and your beliefs, allow yourself to accept facts and evidence, and let's stop the genocide that is happening in Palestine, and the unnecessary killing of Palestinians, including women and children. Okay, I appreciate you all very much. Take care.
It is a result of that. This is not unexpected. It is a sign that our narrative